In 2011, ASUS released their first ProArt display, and now 15 years later, they've sponsored this video for us to take a look at the ProArt PA279CDV. This is a 27-inch class OLED creative-focused display for professionals who want to get color-accurate work done. Inside the box, we have our complement of cables, which is a power cable, DisplayPort cable, and a USB-C cable. They also give you these little cable ties, which are a nice little touch. They are plastic, but they're made to look like leather, so they're a little bit classier than your typical Velcro strap. And it includes a calibration report that ASUS puts the panel through from the factory. Next, we have the base for our stand, which has a bit of weight to it. That should help with stability in the monitor itself. And we've got the arm for the stand itself. The main mount for the monitor is fairly plasticky, but the insides are all made out of metal still. One screw on the bottom to put it all together. Now that it's together, I'm noticing that it's got this angle that leans it back a ways. It's kind of nice to take up a little bit less horizontal space on your desk and claim some of that back. Lastly, we do have a third piece to our mount, which just slots in right there. I just noticed this as well. There is a small marking on both the stand and the arm to make sure that you're centered. Now we can get our stand in here and do the quick click into place. We can take off this protective front coating and take a look at what we have underneath here. What we have here is a 26.5-inch QD-OLED glossy panel that they have worked on that hardness, so it is going to be more difficult to scratch than previous models. But again, as I always say, use a microfiber towel and treat it nicely. The last thing that you want in your glossy panel is a bunch of micro scratches. Those are really distracting, especially when you've got dark images that you're working on. Being a QD-OLED, you do get a little bit of that magenta hue, but this is only going to be apparent when you have a brighter space. Realistically, when you're working on color accurate work, you want to control your light around the panel, so you probably won't notice it. While this is a simple stand, you do get some swivel, and you do get the full pivot for vertical mode, as well as some height adjustment up and down, and some tilt. When's the last time you've seen an on-off switch, a master on-off switch on a monitor? Beside our power switch, we have our C13 power, as well as we have one HDMI 2.1 with FRL, so you get the full 4K 120 with no display stream compression, as well as two DisplayPort, but one of these display ports is an out, so that you can daisy chain. These are DisplayPort 1.4, which means that you do get 4K 120, but if you're going to daisy chain two displays together with DisplayPort, you're going to be using some display stream compression to get 4K 120 across both monitors. We also have a couple of USB-C ports, one of which supports 96-watt charging and DisplayPort alt mode, so you can use that as the sole connection to a laptop, MacBook, that sort of thing. Then we have our 3.5mm headphone jack, as well as two USB-A ports that run at 5 gigabit per second. We do get two more bonus ports on the bottom here that are a little bit easier to access, one of them being a USB-A and another USB-C port, both at 5 gigabits again. ASUS has done a lot of work with the software and the connections to make this work well with macOS in particular. Once I plug it in, I get a pop-up just asking if I want to allow the accessory to connect, and we can see that it's charging the laptop just as expected. Just like with a lot of monitors these days, the first thing that comes up is the energy savings warning. So to comply with energy saving standards, they usually ship it in an energy saving mode, but to get the most out of your monitor, you do want to turn that off. So we're going to click no to turn off the energy saving mode. Because this is a creative focused monitor, I thought it would be worthwhile to bring one of our editors up. So we've got Peter here.
Hello. Thanks for inviting me on to the set.
One of the things that ASUS has done with the monitor to make it work well in the Apple ecosystem is they have an M-specific mode, a Mac-specific mode, so that the displays will match as closely as possible to what you'd end up on your actual MacBook. First, you have to stick the monitor in P3 mode under preset, and then you can go under palette and color temp, and we have M model, which makes the display look as close as you can the same. I don't know.
Is the MacBook, does it have True Tone on? Yeah, so we got True Tone on here, so you can actually turn that off. Because what True Tone does is, I believe, it takes this, like, the ambient light, and then it switches the color. So you always actually want that off.
Okay.
Just from like a quick glance, it doesn't seem to match 100%.
This looks warmer to me.
100%. Like it's definitely more yellow in like this.
Yeah, in the ocean and in the rocks.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious as to which is actually accurate. To be completely honest, if they're both different, which one is closer to real? Who knows? I believe the MacBook does have HDR on right now. We're on the like up to 1600 nits. So did we want to bring that down, or?
Yeah, let's put it in P3 mode because that's what the monitor is. It's still a little cooler, but I think it's closer.
There is still a slight yellow tint on the ProArt, and like obviously it's a little bit more blue. Like you can see it in the highlights of the sky, like in the bokeh. It's more blue on the MacBook, and it's a little bit more yellow on the ProArt, but it's really close. It looks really good, and the ProArt, its HDR looks amazing, honestly. I don't know what the peak brightness on the HDR is, but
1000.
Was it 1000? Yeah, I mean, that's really good. The MacBook, I think we have it right now on the 600 nit setting. Like we don't actually have it on the 1600 nit setting.
Let's take a look real quick.
Yeah, I mean, the MacBook definitely gets brighter. It is a smaller screen though. For the ProArt to match this well in HDR to the MacBook screen, like I personally, for what I do, YouTube, Linus Tech Tips, ShortCircuit, I think it's good enough. Like I guess the MacBook is like I don't want to say the gold standard. Obviously, there's like video monitors and stuff like that, you know, like super color accurate, like $6,000. But what is the price on the ProArt actually?
For this guy?
Yeah.
$700.
$700?
Yeah. And it's a QD-OLED.
$700 for a quantum dot OLED, and it's 120 hertz?
Yeah.
We're living good. We're living great these days. That's crazy.
In terms of like bang for buck performance with a QD-OLED panel, $700 is pretty darn good.
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the color performance, how about we take a closer look at that?
100%, let's do it.
In SDR, targeting the sRGB color space, we were able to hit 99.5% with an average delta E of just 0.43. To bring that into perspective, for decent color work, you want to be less than 2. So hitting 0.43 puts this well into the realm of a great professional color monitor. For DCI-P3, we were able to hit 98.8% of the color space with an average delta E of 0.51. Again, incredibly good. You can see in the graph that it's all very, very flat, and most values are under 1 even, except for this one rogue red color. In HDR, targeting the BT 2020 color space, we were able to hit 76.3%, which isn't outstanding, but is still pretty good. And we hit an average delta E ITP of 6, which you have to keep in mind that delta E ITP is not the same as delta E 2000. A delta E ITP of 6 is still very good.
That graph data is awesome. It's cool to see. It looks cool to see, and that's all that kind of matters to me at this point. It's color accurate, the HDR is bright, and honestly, would love to edit on this.
Let's take a look at some of the other software features that ASUS has been working on.
Let's do it.
Just like the gaming OLED monitor that we looked at previously, we've got the DisplayWidget Center that also works on macOS, where you can change things like your presets and even control the brightness of your monitor right from the software itself. One of the other things that you can do is you can actually control the brightness of the screen itself with the keyboard shortcuts on the MacBook. You also have the option to set other hotkeys in the DisplayWidget Center for things like the blue light filter, or shadow boost, or saturation control if you want some quick and easy access to those types of things.
Wait, what does KVM mean down there on the hotkeys?
You can actually have multiple computers hooked up to the monitor at the same time and use it as a KVM where your keyboard and mouse will move depending on what input is selected.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so if you have your MacBook hooked up and then you've got your gaming PC or whatever, you can switch back and forth and you don't have to get a second set of peripherals. It all just moves over.
I'm a pretty big gamer. Let's play some games on this thing.
Yeah, let's switch it over. So I like this opening scene because you've got a lot of dark areas and shadows in the trees, but you've also got the fires, and then if you look to the top left, you'll get lightning flashes periodically. There you go. It really helps to highlight the strengths of an HDR display like this. One of the things you can notice when you're doing some of those charge kills too is the OLED response times, super fast, and you don't have any motion blur really.
Previously on monitors like this, you would get trade-offs, right? Like 120 hertz with amazing colors and like a 5 millisecond response time. This is super playable. Obviously, it's not like 1 millisecond, I'm Counter-Strike gaming, Valorant gaming, stuff like that.
This is the response time including the refresh rate. So your pixel response time is 0.1 milliseconds.
You used to have multiple monitors for different use cases. To be able to have one monitor that you can, edit on, and then, while you're halfway through the edit, you need a little break, boot up some Doom Dark Ages, I mean, that's just insane. And all for the price of $700 US?
Yeah, $700 US. And if 27 inches isn't big enough, they've actually got a 32-inch version coming in the fall that's going to be $900.
I would prefer 32 inches just for editing. I think 27 inches is like a great happy medium, but 32 inches just gets me the screen space I want. But I mean, at 27 inches, $700, honestly, can't really go wrong with this.
The other advantage that the 27-inch has is you're keeping the same resolution across the two, so you have more pixel density in the 27-inch. Thanks for watching Short Circuit. If you liked this video, you may enjoy some of ASUS's other panels that we've featured, where you can get a more gaming-focused panel for a little bit cheaper and get a lot of the features that you see here, but just not quite as color accurate. Or you can go for the full high end and get their newest RGB striped panel.